the bottom, bottom, from the bottom, bottom. You know we got 'em, we got it, got 'em. We from the bottom. Oh yeah, hey thank y'all for tuning in. You know we got a very special guest on this episode. We got Big Mike. You know, one of the persons I go to church with him and stuff like that, and he's a dope individual, and he work in the school system. Ain't too many black people working in the school system up here. Where I'm at and stuff like that. So I had to get him on, so he can share more about himself and like what he do and stuff like that. Because I thought it was pretty cool on what he do. Plus, he one of the first guests back on the From the Bottom episode, and I really appreciate you coming on, my guy. You know,
Hey man, I appreciate you having me, man.
So we gonna go and get right into it, Mike. You know, let the
Yeah,
people know
yeah,
who you
yeah.
are.
Hey.
Let them know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, man, you hit me with a great introduction, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me on. It's dope. Yeah, Michael Williams. I work in education, Christian, husband, father, got three children, one on the way, so four total. Um,
Ooh,
and yeah,
congratulations.
working. Hey, thank you, man.
Thumbs up. Yeah.
Uh, Shoot, man, trying to work in education with kids, come home to kids, it's a fun job though. And then yeah, I appreciate it. 'Cause I work in education. I've been working in education for it's crazy to say, man, 18 years. Yeah, 18 years.
You've been
Started
doing it
out,
for
yeah,
18 years?
man, 18 years. Started out as a teacher's assistant, paraeducator, and then went back to school, went got some certifications, started working in behavior, really with students with challenging behavior. And then that got me into like classroom lead positions. Then I went to the district office and uh,
Oh,
yeah,
so you
so
worked
what
your
I'm
way
doing
up.
now. Yeah.
Oh,
You, yeah,
what
you
made
really talk
you?
about from you really talk about from the bottom.
Well, dang, I guess the title, the shoes. I guess this you on the perfect episode then.
Yeah.
So what made you get into teaching?
Man, crazy, crazy, man. Didn't even think that I would ever step foot in the classroom again. I barely graduated high school, um, and thought my next opportunity was to play basketball. So I got a second chance to go play community college basketball, and during that time, I started
Yeah, he's
running
nice.
camp.
He nice on the court. He nice. I mean, he go in slow motion, but I mean, he pretty
Hey,
nice. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you got bad knees and bad back. You got to go slow motion. It's all about the
Yeah.
game up here now.
So,
Uh,
so I
and
gotta ask,
then go
uh,
ahead. Yeah.
was it anybody like? Did you have any family in education, like teachers in your family, or were you the first?
Um, my grandfather worked with individuals with disabilities doing like community in home care. And so that was kind of a little bit of what I did before I got into education. Ended up, yeah, running mini camps and then an actual old head, a guy that knew me when I was a youngster, and he was out hooping. So he saw me as a kid, brought me in, and told me about being a paraeducator, working in education, and just being able to work with individuals with special needs, help kids with their schoolwork during the day, and then that way I got summers off and we can run all the mini camps we want. And so I was like, man, I'll try it,
Oh,
do it.
see, because Mike is he one of the biggest Seahawks fans I know from the Bay,
Come on, man.
and so what? Oh,
Oh, man. Oh, don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
so
Um,
the reason I ask is down in the Bay, where they go hyphy, was it a lot of black teachers down there?
in the Bay, yeah, there's a lot of black teachers in the Bay. Not in Washington though.
Mm. Yeah, you got a point there. Yeah, it's not a lot in Washington. The reason I asked because that's funny. It goes into the second question that I had, for you, you know.
Yeah,
And I think that it's important that people see somebody who look like them, no matter what nationality it is, you know, in whatever field they want to go to, you
yeah, I
know.
agree.
And so up here, I just learned this. I did not know, this whole time I thought it was a teacher shortage and stuff like that. But I didn't know it was so hard to get a job as a teacher up here.
Yes and no. Yes and
I
no.
hear the like people. Well, I hear the people like they be like it's like 400 applicants for two positions.
It
Like,
it could be. It could be if you want to be specific to your role. Like if you only want to teach third grade, then yes. But if you're trying to just be an educator and you just want to work with kids, there are educator positions out there. You might not have gone to school to teach like high school science, but there might be a high school science position open. Are you willing to take it?
see, but can they do that though? Like if
Yeah.
you're a kindergarten first grade teacher and the position come open in high school, can you even go for that, or do you need other certifications?
So the only certification you really need beyond just a bachelor's in K through 12 education would just be a bachelor's in something specific like science. Um, but for the most part, if you have a bachelor's degree in K-12 education, you can teach any grade level. Some do
Mm,
specify the K-8, where they're only teaching up to middle school, but for the most part, most educators can teach K-12.
hmm. So, how many other black teachers have you seen out there since you've been doing this? Because I know it can't be a lot of them.
It's drastically improved. But again, yeah, the numbers are still short. The numbers are still small. I mean, we're in Washington, and there's 88%, 85 to 88% white educator. So there's a small percentage of people of color in education, but the numbers are growing because of that same belief. Having kids see more individuals, more educators that look like them, that come from the same community, that can identify with their background and really tap into who they are. We're spending more time in education, more money in education, talking about the whole student. So, really, where they come from, what is their cultural, how do they enter the classroom? They're not just there to be a vessel, to be filled. All right. We want to talk to the whole individual. We want to support the whole student. And it does get scarce out there for educators of color. So we try to stick together. But the numbers are small.
So, I do know that somebody told me that if you want to be a teacher, you have to really love it because this show is not about the money.
This show is not about the money. This show
And
ain't.
and I hear
And that's true. I mean, and I feel like that's with any profession, even the ones where people make a lot of money, they can get burnt out real easy. Um, because you're working with humans, because you're working with individuals that come from various backgrounds and cultures and identities. Um, it's a little more mentally and emotionally exhausting. You have to really invest a lot of emotion and a lot of mental, versus other jobs where you got to invest a lot of physical. You can tap out mentally and really just physically kind of grind your way through it. Um, Education takes a lot of heart, a lot of heart.
so for a person. in college right now who dreams is to be a teacher, what would you tell them? They say, Mr. Mike, is it still worth it to become a teacher in today's climate?
Yeah. If you love people, if you love investing in the future and the next generation and really having an impact on the next generation, education is the way to go. Because you get more access to students and minds that you can help facilitate growth. Um, I would say do it if you really love people, if you really love investing in the next generation.
But hey, what about them hard to deal with parents though? I heard a lot of parents that I never expected. I
Hey,
heard somebody,
hey,
my co-host, he worked in the school system, and he told me about this one kid. He got sent home, and the mom sent him back to school and said he's not my problem until after this time. Oh, so that must be true. I see how you laughing. Yeah, that must you must
yeah,
say stuff too.
yes, sir. Hey, man, there was this time. So this was early on in my career, man. Like I said, I'm working primarily with kids with challenging behavior, and there was a time where a kid had a really rough time during the day, man. Fights, not following expectations, not willing to cooperate, and even just try to meet us halfway, man. And it got to the point to where they had crossed the school expectation, a district expectation, and had to be sent home. And so later on that same day, I used to have to work security at a bar part time just to make
Oh
ends meet.
no.
And that same night, that same night, their dad came in and we had to put him out the bar.
Wait.
The
Did
evidence
the
was far.
dad did the dad know who you
Yeah,
were?
no, no, but
Oh,
we knew who the dad was to the kid.
oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, they didn't put two and two together.
Wow. So I guess you see why the kid was the way the kid was. If the dad got
Exactly.
kicked out the bar, you
Come on.
know.
So
Oh
right.
wow. Wow.
So if the kid, right? So if the kid already feels unwanted, kid already feels unwanted by the parent, and then they go to school and feel unwanted by the school staff, what are you
Mm,
expecting from the student? They just
mm.
gonna show out then. It don't matter,
But then
So that's
but
why I said, if you're gonna get an education, it's more than just teaching kids about history, about science, about numbers and math, and teaching them about how to write a paragraph. Like you're teaching the human, and really tapping into who they are because the things that kids are exposed to these days, it is hard as an educator because they think, for the most part, like our own kids, they already got the information. So what do they need you for? Uh,
they got a
and
lot
so
of information.
with anything, it comes down to the relationship. If you can build relationships with people, you care about people, especially the ones that come from challenging backgrounds or have challenging behavior, right? Behavior is neutral until you put it into a context, right? Yelling is cool at a football game, at a sporting event. Yelling is not cool in the middle of a orchestra event, right? Same behavior, but the context is different. And so working with a lot of kids with challenging behavior, it's really deeper than what the behavior is displaying, and that's what you really got to tap into. And so, yeah, kids definitely are more challenging these days because, like you just shared, there are parents out there that aren't setting great examples because they come from a generation that necessarily didn't set a great example, and
Shoot.
it's a cycle.
Hey, but do you think that's a lot to put on a teacher though? Because the teacher only got so much time to mess with one student compared to they got a classroom of 25 and 30 kids with no teacher aide.
Yeah, so that's what I love about my role. Like I said, I started as a paraeducator, just as a classroom aide. working in what we call a self-contained classroom where students with disabilities, highly impacted students with wheelchairs, low cognitive ability output, and uh, to becoming now somebody who travels across the state, working with various educators, from new first year educators to veteran educators who've been doing this for 15, 20 years, and giving them some of these strategies, giving them some of these tools, really helping them understand, like, again, it's about relationship, it's about tapping into the brain and really getting students out of that survival, um, you know, survival brain where they're really just focused on keeping themselves safe and really just doing what they need to do to meet their own needs to where they're willing to learn. And
Mm.
it's a tough job, but I enjoy it, being able to go across the state and give support to educators, to give teachers. Because you're right, it's not easy when you have a kid who's cursing, cursing you out, a kid who's not engaged in the instruction and just withdraws, maybe puts their hood on, maybe just leans back, shows up late, um, doesn't tap into the potential you may see they have. Um, so it is a lot when you have 23, 24, 25, sometimes 28 students in a classroom. And it's not just one, it's a small group of students, so four or five, sometimes depending on the community, depending on the school and the environment, sometimes it's the whole class that have
Mm.
disruptive, challenging behavior.
So so now you did say you said you travel all over the state. Now
Yeah.
now I just learned this about Mike around July. You know what I'm about to say. I know you ain't traveling around the state. How I think you traveling around the state. I know you can't be. I know you not. See, cause
So
Mike Mike
the
like a black knight, you know, and he got he got hey he got his moped and it's blacked out.
oh,
It's black
man.
on black. And, if you see anybody in a black on black moped riding up and down the highway, it's probably
Yeah,
Mike. And I know
yeah,
you ain't across the state on that
yeah.
moped.
Black on black man, black man on a black bike, right? That's
Yeah,
black on black.
you know.
Um,
And so
yeah,
if y'all seen a picture of me on a moped and the guy in the background, that was Mike, and that was his moped that I was on. And
yes.
are you traveling on that moped? Are you
So
you doing?
some of the schools that I go to, I take the moped. Yeah. I got a couple of local contracts with schools that I can get to on the moped. The moped, it goes 65, man. It goes 65. It gets up, you
It's
know.
fun. It's fun, but
Yeah,
it's a gas saver.
it is. Man, it cost me $6 and I get 100 miles.
Say that one more time, Mike. Say it so they can hear you in the back. Say it one more time.
It cost me $6 to fill up the moped and I get 100 miles
So
off that
listen,
$6.
right now, Mike is taking application to join his moped gang.
Let's
You
go.
know, I'm be the starting water boy for the game. For the biker club. What
Yeah,
can it be called a biker club if it's
it
a
is,
moped?
man. I get real love out there. I get real love. You know, when you see the motorcycles do like this, they give you the peace sign,
Yeah, yeah, I've
as they
seen
run
it.
by each other. Man, they throw it at me, bro. I'm a part.
I was
It's
wondering because
real.
they never when I'm out there riding my bicycle, they never throw the peace sign at
They
me, and
don't.
I be throwing the peace sign at everybody on the motorcycle, But I
Nope.
thought two wheels supposed to stick together, but I guess it just
Not me.
motorized. Yeah, I see.
Motorized, baby. It's a
I
whole nother
see.
club. Yeah.
But
You got to up the game.
so so for you to travel all around the state, what exactly do you do in the school system?
So it depends on the contract and the school need or the educator need. So right now I'm working with a special education teacher, teaching and supporting them on how to write skill based IEPs or individual education plans for students that receive special education services. And so having a skill based educational plan, whether that be for behavior or academic, having a skill based plan really helps everybody who's involved, the gen ed teacher, the special education teacher, the assistants who support that student in various environments, um, really target the skill as opposed to just a subjective idea of what the kid should be doing or learning. It's more based on this skill or actually help them access the math curriculum better, right? So it's like they're struggling with recognizing certain components of the math process. And so by teaching them how to use a math journal, we can help them access more than just one content area in math, like not just multiplication. Everybody use that for multiplication. Everybody use it for division, for decimals, right? So you teach them a skill as opposed to focusing just on the content.
Mm.
With another school, we're working on reducing isolation and restraint. We're really this year is going to be deeper than last year. Last year, we worked on educator mind frame. We worked on identifying behavior criteria and having common language around what behavior looks like because we've all come from different backgrounds, different upbringings. And so we all have our own idea of what behavior is and isn't, and what is good and what is bad, or what's appropriate and not appropriate, right? Depending on the context. And so last year, we worked on a lot of educator mind frame and just creating common language. This year, we're really going to focus on how do we reduce incidences of negative behavior for students of color. There's higher numbers where educators are using um, unsavory strategies to
Yeah.
try to curb or change behavior. Um, and it tends to be because, again, it just the numbers look odd, the numbers look weird. When you have a educator workforce, like I said, 85 to 88% white, uh, and then you have a community of students that they support that's 65% students of color, some places 80% students of color. When you use some of these strategies, the numbers just don't look good. It looks like you have white folks kicking black kids out or kids of color out of class. And so I'm working with this school in that area to really target how they are supporting, again, the students in the classroom through those challenging behaviors and situations to get everybody to a place of safety and learning.
So what grade you doing? Is this like K through 12?
Yeah, so two of the contracts that I have this year are K8. Well, sorry, excuse me. One is K8, um, which is in Yakima, like an hour south of Yakima. And then another school is K through 5 elementary. And then another school that I'm working with down south in Vancouver is middle school to high school, 6 to 12.
Oh snap! That boy be moving. Hey, salute to you, Big Mike. Salute to you.
Hey,
You doing
man,
great.
you know, it's one of those things, man. Like I said, I didn't think I'd get an education. It wasn't something that I looked into, like a lot of black youth grow up thinking their next dream is going to be playing some sport. And so not having a backup plan, not having an idea of what I was going to do, get kicked off the team junior year for grades, losing scholarships and opportunities. Like I said, I was able to get a second chance and play community basketball and just didn't have a really good support system. So for me, man, I did so many other things after I left college and tried not to do anything in education. And then, like I said, ended up running into an old head who got me back into education, trying to continue to keep in touch with basketball, becoming a coach and working with youth. And
So
now here
when
I am, man, 10 years later.
so when the kids out there of color see you, like, do they what do they say to you? Like, do they
Um,
are parents of like when they see you?
Sometimes it depends. Sometimes it
Uh-oh.
depends.
That's not good.
Like I said, working with kids, a lot of my career has been working with kids with challenging behaviors of all races and backgrounds. But when we talk about the kids of color, it depends on what the parent and me are finding. What we're having a conversation about. You
Yeah.
know, like if your kid is fucking up, it's not a good conversation to start out with. It's not a good introduction necessarily. You know what I'm saying? But over the years, I've gotten better at managing those situations. Not gonna lie, bro. There's times where I've been definitely cursed out. Where I've been accused of you know not supporting my own community, uh,
So you had
thinking
to bite
that
your tongue.
I'm yeah, thinking that I'm more for the white educator than I am for the student of color, and just being clear about my position. And again, my job is to support your student and keeping them in class. And there are things that are above my pay grade that I don't have control over. And when, you know, I tried all these strategies and I walk them through the strategies that I've tried and I've walked through the strategies that we've tried as a school team. And when your student crosses a boundary that we can't go back from, we gotta part ways. We gotta separate. We gotta readjust. And sometimes that's through a 3 day, 5 day, 1 day, 10 day suspension where we all can kind of get our heads together and come up with a plan. And that's where I really take pride in the job that I do because so many students are labeled and don't
Yeah.
get an opportunity um, to really learn the skills necessary to function in those environments. And so educators, teams end up labeling students, and then those meetings never happen. The team doesn't come together and come up with a plan of support, doesn't refine their strategies. They start to label and blame students, they start to label and blame families. And so that's why I'm like, what is the debrief process? Let's come up with a plan of support because you're not off the hook as an educator.
Mm. That's what I thought, man. I ain't gonna lie. Back in school, boy, I used to get in trouble so much. I already had a seat in the office, you know.
you know?
you know, but as I got older, to hear about what a lot of teachers have to go through and stuff like that. This the question I want to ask you
You were a
is,
good student back in the day compared, huh?
hey man, it was different back then. But hey, well, this ain't about me. This is your interview. Uh, do you think teachers get paid enough? Because to me, the more I learn about it, I don't think they get paid. they don't get paid enough to put up with some of this stuff. Man, it's a lot. It's a lot behind the scenes, that people don't know. So
There are, there are,
I'm like, I don't,
there's
I don't think teachers get paid enough, in my opinion. Some people think teachers get paid too much, but to try to do, depending on what grade they're in, you got 25 students a class and you got 6 periods a day. That's a lot of different personalities to deal with in one day, you know. So
yeah.
what do you think as far as like teachers getting paid?
Man, that's a loaded question, bro. This you trying to set me up, man. Come on now.
Well, listen, listen. Now,
I'm
now
already a black educator.
before you say something, don't get in trouble. I don't
Duh.
want you to get in trouble. They're gonna be like, "Hey, Mike, we seen you on this podcast, and you don't think you get paid enough." You know.
Look, man, hey, it's just an opinion. It's
Yeah, yeah.
just an opinion.
It's just opinion.
Um, I think
Yeah.
it's a
Please
loaded question.
don't get Mike in trouble.
Nah, it's a loaded question in terms of yes and no, because there are opportunities for educators to make a pretty penny. Um,
Yeah.
but it goes back to the emotional and mental investment. It is emotionally, mentally exhausting. There are educators who put in a ton of hours And then there are educators who work the regular contract. They put in their time and then they go home at the end of the contract and they leave it where it lies. Um, and so I think for the hours and the days, um, there's a lot of breaks. There's a lot of breaks where educators have an opportunity where other professions don't, to really get their ducks in a row to plan, and prepare themselves for the year. And then there are times where you have educators that don't, and they spend a lot of time doing that during the year. And so they put
Mm.
in a lot of extra hours during the year. And so, when you put in hours and you really look at the salary, nah, nah, you don't get paid a lot.
Well,
Uh,
I didn't know every teacher was salary until I be hearing about some teachers stay till 9 o'clock at night. Then they turn around and be right back in the morning. And you be like, what in the world could they be doing till 9 o'clock at night if school get out at like 2 o'clock?
but it's not a requirement. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a requirement. Nobody's telling you you have to stay till 9. So because you choose to stay till 9, because you have those educators who are like, you know what, I'm more of a night person. I don't really have much to go home to. So I can be here until that time to prep myself for the next day because I don't want to do it the next day. And then you have educators who are like, man, I'm out. I'm out as soon as the bell rings. I'm out as soon as the contract ends, but I'll be in 2 hours before my contract time to prepare myself for the day. Um, so you really don't get paid for that prep time, which is where, again, right? You work 190 days a year. Most professions are working 260.
Okay, well, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that.
So it's hard to
Mm,
say. And again,
mm.
I know some educators who are, 5, 6 years in, making 130,
Hey,
one
hey, come
one
on now. Hey,
forty.
hey, hey, don't be on here now. Don't be on here like snitching nothing, Mike. We ain't trying to get you
Like,
beat up when you
I'm
go into
just
like
saying, man, there
conference.
there there's a way. There's a way. Um, and and again, it's how much is your time worth, and that's with any profession, right? How much is your time worth? We're all, at the end of the day, trading our time for money.
Yeah,
We can always argue how much that time is worth. So
yeah.
I think
Mm.
educators could get paid more. I don't have a number, but I also know that there are educators who are taking advantage, and maybe they could share some of their salary with some of the educators who put in that time and stay till 9.
Well, I don't know about they all got the same amount of time in a day. I don't know about
Yes,
sharing
they
those
do.
salaries. You know,
Yes,
um,
they do.
yeah,
Yes,
that'd
they
be
do.
pretty hard. To share with Jenny, and Craig over here. Working 120 hours a week. But Jenny only working her contract hours, and I don't know. It's like she found a
Anything,
loophole.
you know, you know, there is a loophole.
I always wondered, what teachers
You know,
thought if
I,
they got. Oh, what you
I,
say?
here's something that I've been curious about. Just throwing it out
Uh-oh.
there again, it's just an opinion.
Don't get in
Is
trouble,
if
Mike. Don't get in trouble.
I mean, if there was an opportunity to receive bonuses in terms of student growth, and
Mm,
that's not just academic growth. That could be social and behavioral growth. A student that started the school year who had a seat in the principal's office, who didn't have many friends, or who had a seat in the principal's office and had a lot of friends. Either way, right?
yeah.
The growth of that student from being in the office once a week to once a month, there should be a bonus. Somebody should receive a bonus for that growth.
But then I guess the question I would ask you is, how would you determine on who get that bonus? Because would it be a teacher? Would it be a principal? Would it be the counselor? Or would it be the custodian that he talked to a lot? Like, how would y'all determine who was the person to make him do the 360 by the end of the year?
Hey, we run it like Starbucks. Okay, we just split the tip.
Is that what they do?
We split the bonus. Yeah, man. I found that out like a week ago. No matter who's earning tips, no matter how social you are, you might be the best barista that Starbucks got at your location where people just love you. They come in just to talk to you and get their coffee from you daily. And they tip you $5. Old Joe Schmo over there who's disgruntled, who just throws your sugar packets on the counter when you ask for extra sugar and tells you it's over there.
Yeah.
You gotta share the
Mm.
tips with that chat too.
Okay, so since you said that, then since you said everybody split the bonus, right? How would
With the
you
bonus.
determine is this? Okay, say this kid is in the say sixth grade. Would that be every one of his teachers and the administrators in the sixth grade, or would this be like how would you
Okay.
determine who? Because there's a
So
lot of
this is
people.
where it could be. This is where the educational plan comes in. If you're a part of the educational planning team,
Yeah.
then
Oh.
you in docket for that bonus. You in docket for that bonus.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense now. That make okay. Mm.
As a principal, if you could reduce the number of students who need an educational plan, man, you get a bonus too. Your whole school gets a bonus. The whole everybody gets a bonus
See, but
for keeping kids from being qualified.
what about a bonus for um say your test grades get better, you know, because y'all they test every year in school, right?
Right?
So if they test grades get like say they're at a 80, they go up to 82. Do you think they need a bonus for that? Or will
Maybe
you
maybe
think
we
it
come
would
up with
be like
a
up
maybe we
by
come up with a like a tiered bonus system. Zero to five gets you so
yeah.
much. If there's so much growth from 80% to 85%, that's good. From 86 to 90, boom, 91 to 90. You know what I mean? Like you might come up with a tiered
Mm,
system.
I think that would be pretty cool to have a bonus system within the school. But I think,
Like,
in
I
my
mean, how many
opinion,
other
I think it'll be hard though because it's like certain people would be able to get the bonus. You know, like the account, like the secretaries in the office, they don't particularly do teach the students or nothing, but they're there as part of the school. But like say like the teachers and the principal and them, they get the bonus. But like the
Mhm.
secretary, they don't really get a chance to get a bonus. Or like the custodian or the lunchroom people or stuff
Hey,
like
hey, man, not everybody gets a bonus either when you're not on part of the sales team.
that. Yeah, that was a good one. I gotta give it to you on that one, Mike. Gotta give it to
You
you.
know?
You
Come
know?
on.
That was a good one. I wonder like how would you do the bonuses? Like could they get like NIL or something? I don't know. Like the teachers, like
Well,
NIL bonuses or something like
that'll
that.
go. You got
Name in
teachers
the
being
like,
drafted.
just thinking like, say you're a popular teacher on social media or something. Kids
Yeah.
love going.
Hey, maybe that's where they could get NIL deals from like Sharpie. You know, that's on
Mm,
that. Crayola markers just sending them just all the
mm.
markers galore. Crayola, they got crowns to just rain.
Oh, hey, hey, man, like you've been thinking about this.
This little man, because there is, like I said, man, there's a fine line between getting paid enough and not getting paid enough, and just trying to be creative, man. That's the big part of my job is just trying to help educators think creatively in different ways that they can support students academically and behaviorally. Uh,
Sure, I think a
Want
bonus
to make
probably
teaching fun.
would. A bonus probably would be a perfect solution. To help people be more inspired to become teachers and be better teachers. Crazy thing is some people teachers and they hate kids.
Right,
you
right.
know, so,
I
so
know.
yeah,
Yeah, I've come across many of those.
yeah. So well, we're gonna keep it moving along. So this question right here, if kids were in charge for one day, what do you think school would look like? In my opinion, I think school would be like pajamas and everybody sitting around on their phones eating snacks for the whole day. You know,
It would definitely depend on what they had access to. In elementary school, if kids had access to laptops, definitely,
I think it'd be
definitely,
Minecraft and Roblox.
it would be Roblox, Minecraft all day. It would be a free for all, baby,
Well,
free for
now
all.
that you say that, do you think they would be on the laptop, or if you give them recess, would they be outside the whole day?
Yeah, they'd be outside on the laptop. Yeah.
Oh, golly, come on, man. What? You don't think kids would go outside and play if it's like everybody out there playing together?
You would have. I'd probably say it'd be up and down with kids tapping in and out of playing the game, doing an activity, playing the game, doing an activity. But there'd be a high majority of just kids engrossed in the technological part of it.
Yeah, you're right, because kids don't play outside no more. So yeah,
Not without
if
it,
you give
not
them,
without it being structured.
well, yeah, I'm
That's
just
the
saying,
problem.
like, yeah, if you give them a phone or a laptop, yeah, probably 85% of those kids not coming out to play outside if they. I ain't even think about that. Do they
Nah,
still
but if
have?
you don't allow them, yeah, yeah.
Oh, man, I'm old now. I don't even
But
think about
again, but if you don't allow them access to the technology, they'll find something to do. They'll play. Kids are pretty still creative when they have to be.
it. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking, like, what if a kid was in charge for one day? What would the school look like? At least I know
It
one
would it
thing.
would
They ain't cleaning up
it
their
look
mess.
chaotic. Nah, it look chaotic. It would look chaotic.
Yeah.
You give them about you give them about 3 days of just unstructured chaos. You are gonna have kids who are like, okay, I've gotten my fix. I do actually want to learn.
Mm.
But one day, just one day, yeah, it's a free for all. If you were like, man, what would it look like if you gave them a week? You would have kids. You'd have kids leading classrooms within a week.
Wait.
Small groups would form. Oh yeah, small groups would form. Kids would start to really learn from one another and start to engage one another in some sort of knowledge growth.
Wait. So you think that if kids was running the school, after 3 days they'll be like, "Hey, I want to get back to learning."
That's why I say within that week, probably say 3 to 4 days. Yeah.
So in a classroom of 25 kids, how many you think would be like, "I'm ready to learn"? Because I'm
Uh,
just thinking of when I was in school. I'm like, nigga, I don't know. Yeah, I
I'll
don't.
probably say again, small groups would start to form. Every kid wouldn't be learning the exact same thing, but they would be learning and disengagement from the tech. Kids would put phones away. You probably get a good third, a good third of the
Mm,
classroom would probably be like, "Hey, let's start learning." Which then, right, depending on the influence of that third, you might get half.
I ain't never thought about it. I don't know. Shoot, I didn't think kids would want to learn if nobody's around to make them learn. You
It's
know?
more of what are they learning? How are they learning? Right. And that's where, again, helping educators be more creative in their approach to education and teaching
Yeah.
is a big part of my job that I enjoy is really, again, thinking about how and what. It's not just about learning about history. It's how do you bring history to life these days and really get them to maybe experience it where just sitting and watching an old video and answering questions on a worksheet like we did is not effective these days. You're losing kids. All
Yeah,
right. I worked with an educator last year. And this is where really understanding the culture of students, especially the students that you work with for the 180 days that you are an educator for that school year,
yeah.
is these kids really love to debate. They really love to have arguments and discussion. And they weren't on topic arguments and discussion. A lot of stuff from the neighborhood or what happened during lunch or before school on social media, blah, 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 right? They're always finding something to argue about. So working with this educator, really trying to be creative, right? He would play videos and then have the kids answer workshop questions. So
Yeah.
then it was okay, I'm not getting much from them. The same kids keep asking or answering the questions. So I'm going to do more of a discussion. I'm going to ask the question, the kids are going to give me a response. Okay. To thinking about how about we turn it into a debate and the students can debate. You can throw the questions out there, but you can give the students an opportunity to debate their side of the question. So now you're taking the culture of the students who love to discuss and argue and engage with one another, and you're bringing that into the classroom and making it part of the learning. So you can guide it and
Mm.
structure it in a way that brings it to life and keeps kids on task and focused. So you, as the educator, can get an understanding of what they know. And the students get their outlet and the same need met by arguing with one another about something stupid. Right.
Hey,
So it's really how when educators think about education in creative ways and thinking, man, how do you tap into the kids to get them to learn?
so debate because people like arguing with each other
With this
to
particular
get
class, it
their
worked.
point. Hey, you
Yeah.
see, this is the type of game that you learn from people who've been in the trenches. You know,
You
he
know?
learned he learned this over time right here because I was not even thinking that way. I was thinking like some of the stuff like what he just said. It would have never crossed my mind. But this is what he do. This is why he get paid the big bucks, people. Y'all better learn from Big Mike. You know.
I'm all with it.
All right, now. So this next topic, I need your honest answer now.
Uh-oh.
You know.
Uh-oh.
So
Don't set me up now. I
I
feel
ain't.
like it gets deeper and deeper.
It ain't gonna be that bad. If students wrote report cards for teachers, what grade would you get?
Oh.
Yeah, come on now. Don't you just say, oh, I'm gonna get 4.0.
Nah.
Yeah.
I'd get a B. I'd get a B. I'd say a solid B. Yeah.
Mm, you sure that's what the
They're
kids?
they're the kids would give me a solid B, man. I've built a lot of really good relationships with students and families over the years. Not saying that every relationship has been perfect, because with anything that you invest time and energy into, there's going to be growth. There's going to be ups and downs. So I definitely would give myself an A or an A minus. I would probably float around a B plus. I'd probably say Mr.
Oh,
Williams. Mr. Williams is the guy.
okay, okay. I thought you were gonna be like, man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna get all A's. I'm gonna get all A's. All the
Nah,
kids
I was-
love me.
Again, going back, I work with kids primarily with a lot of challenging behaviors. And so there are things that they've learned from other adult relationships that Mr. Williams don't put up with, that Mr. Williams is not that adult. And so when I got to draw a hard line, it's tough for some kids, and I'm not the favorite. Not the favorite.
Do so when you just said that, do kids not know how to talk to adults these days, or they think you're their equal?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely kids think that there's an equal playing field. Um, And again, a lot of it is coming from the things that they've experienced, they've learned from their own interactions with other adults. You have a lot of parents out here who are talking to their kids like they're adults, like they're equals. You have a lot of parents who
Trying to be
aren't,
friends.
yeah, who want to be more friends, who are having, you know, more adult conversations when their kids are around. Not thinking about who's listening or what they're picking up, and a lot of that stuff is mirrored in schools.
So what? Now you got, man. See, every time you be talking, my stuff just get to going. What about what about those parents who feel their kid can do no wrong? That whatever happened is not their kid fault. It's the teacher or it's somebody else's fault. They kid
And, you
failing
know,
is somebody else's fault. They kid get in trouble is somebody else's fault. Like everything is, it's put on the teachers and the administrators. You know.
yeah, like I said, man, that's why I give myself a B. Because there are kids and parents that aren't quite hip to the game. Mr. Williams again, doing this a while. My job for a lot of these when I go into a lot of these schools is to help educator teams come up with plans of support and intervention. And so when we include parents, we make sure the parents are part of that conversation as well, especially those parents who feel their kids can't do no wrong. We bring them in on the strategies and tools that we're using. And if you feel like it's not going to work for your student, please speak up now. Forever hold your peace. And then
Mm,
we'll track data, and that's where the data comes in, and that's where I work with school teams on analyzing and looking at that data, making sure that we prioritize the data that we're collecting, and then we can look in at behavior trends and patterns, and I can hold, because I'm an outside agency, where I wasn't able to do before when I was a part of the school team, a part of the school district. Now that I'm an outside agency, I have a little more flexibility in the way that I can push educators and hold school teams accountable and really be like, hey, this was the plan for intervention. The intervention is for the school team to follow. It's a plan for the staff. And we have people that aren't following the intervention plan. And there are gaps in data that are showing there's inconsistencies in the data. It's not being implemented with fidelity. Let's tighten things up.
wait, I never thought about school system using analytics. Only time I think about analytics is goddamn sports. That's kind of bad. I guess I never put two and two together.
Yeah, it's all behavior.
Yeah, well,
Sport
yes,
is just behavior repetition.
yeah, but I never thought about like analytics within the school system. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so wait, so with the analytics in the school system, is this available for every teacher or is it just for problem students?
It's available for every teacher who works with those individuals. Whether those individuals are behavioral students who receive additional support, or students who are just in the regular gen ed classroom who are having challenges, students who are at a recess, like whoever is supporting these students, everybody will have access to that, and should have access to that. And sometimes teams don't. There are gaps definitely in those systems. And so that's where my team comes in, and we help minimize those gaps, tighten up those systems, because ultimately we want to see students successful. We want educators to enjoy teaching. And so if we can come in and can't argue with the analytics, can't argue with the data, you know, we can only look at it, we can only look at it and refine it. And so that's also to go back to your question about the parents who feel like their kids can't do no wrong, is when we get, as a team, we get our systems tight, then the parent really doesn't have any grounds for discussion. They can just look at the data and let the data speak for itself. With these tools and strategies, we've either seen an increase or decrease in what we were looking for. what changes can we make? What changes do you recommend? How can you be a part of the process? Sometimes I've worked with families where I've had to do parent training essentially, where we come up with a plan, and I've gone into the home, especially during COVID, where I've gone into the home and help families, help parents develop systems of support, intervention. Um,
Hey, you went in the
yeah.
parents' home?
There are some students where I've had to go into the parent home. Yeah.
Oh snap! Is that in your contract?
Yes.
You had to go to
Back
their house
then it
with
was
parents.
there. Yeah, there was a lot of conversation around what that looked like, making sure that there weren't any like legal laws or anything like that broken. And again, it's about student success, right? It's about students making sure that they have positive school experiences and outcomes, and some of that starts at home. So if I can support a family to help the student success be more successful in the school setting, that's that's all. It's all worth it. I didn't have the best school career, so that's a lot of the reason why I stay in education. I've stayed in education is so kids don't have the same school experience that I had.
Dang, my dog went above and beyond.
Yeah.
Wow. But Mike, I gotta say, man, thank you for coming on. I know it was last second. I just had talked to him about this yesterday, you know, and he was like, "Let's do it." And he came on, to share with y'all more about, what it's like being a man of color within the teaching section of where we're at, up here in Seattle and stuff like that. Um, shoot,
There's a lot of work to do, man, for people of color. There's still a lot of work to do for students of color, but um, if we can get some young educators into the system, man, we can really start to make some good, big, impactful changes. So I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on, bro. I really
oh
do. This is
no,
good.
shoot. Well, shoot. Well, hopefully this ain't the last time y'all gonna see him. Next time it probably ain't gonna be about teaching. It probably gonna be some off the wall topics. I just thought that this one is like he. I think I don't know many teachers of color up here compared to like down south when I was growing up. Most of all my teachers was people of color, like black or shit. I don't know if I had Latino. I don't even know if I had any other color. I think it was just black and white. But the section of town I was in, it was mostly black. So to come up
Okay.
here is like a total reversal than what I grew up with. And for him to be a teacher of color, to me, I thought, yeah, that was pretty awesome. Because you don't just see them every day up here. And then he's a man at that. Out here helping kids, and he's from the Bay Area. You know, sometimes he have to go hyphy. He got to go hyphy on some kids and parents. That he told
Yeah.
them. You know,
I'm not from the Bay, man. I'm not from the Bay.
wait, where you from, Mike?
Yeah, I'm right here, Washington, man.
What the? I thought you were from the Bay
Yeah.
this whole time. Why didn't you tell me
Nah,
earlier when I said you were from the Bay?
I was because you knew I was a San Francisco fan, so I was like, oh, okay, he's clowning. Nah,
Yeah,
man, I'm not from the Bay, bro.
I thought.
Washington through and through, man. I've been here pretty much my whole life, man. Like
Wait a minute. Wait
from
a minute.
Spokane to Olympia, Aberdeen, Tacoma, uh, Kent, everywhere in between.
Wait, you stayed in
Trenton,
Aberdeen? Well, that's a whole different. Now that's a whole different episode. We're gonna have to talk about that. Because now I'm really confused as to why he's a 49er fan, and he was born and raised up here in Washington, Seahawks land. You know,
man. Let's
he
get
could
into
probably he
it.
could
Let's get
probably
into it.
get arrested for wearing that 49er stuff up here. You know,
Hey, I can tell you about some fun times, man. Let's get
you
into it. Let's do it.
know, you know.
I
But no, I
appreciate
don't
you,
want to
man.
take up too much of your time. I just gotta say thank you for coming on again. Uh, man, is there anything you want the people to know? You know, any shout outs you want to do? anything you have coming up. What's next for Mike?
Ah, man, I just shout out to all the educators out there, man. Keep your heads up. You're not alone. Uh, it's a definitely a thankless job, but do it for the heart, do it for the love. Appreciate you having me on here. Shoot, next thing coming up is just number four, just end of December, man. That's it.
Hey,
So just
oh,
prepare for that.
one more thing. While we on here, I forgot to say again, congratulations, because Mike got a house. You know, and he doing big things out there.
Hey, God
Shoot,
is
I know
good.
what he's saving on gas. I can tell you that.
You
Uh,
know,
anytime anybody doing anything cool, you gotta sometimes give them their props. And like I told y'all before, you ain't gotta be a celebrity to have a dope story. Look at Mike for example. He out here changing people's lives and helping people, but then a lot of people won't probably ever know what he do. Unless you know him and you know how he get down. So, Mike, once again, thank you. Is there any other shout outs you want to do? You know,
hey, glory to God, man. God,
yeah,
He's good. He does it.
yeah, and he got 4 kids coming. So next year probably, he gonna be on his fifth. He trying to get a start in five. He trying to get a
No,
start in
man.
five, huh?
Why?
Oh,
Come on, man. Why you put that on me, man?
oh,
Why you put that
oh,
on me?
my
God,
son.
shout out to From the Bottom. I appreciate y'all just putting me on, man. Kyle, man. All love. Appreciate you, big dog.
Oh no, it was all on you. This whole thing, this part, like it. Even when I used to do it back in the day, I learned that this is bigger than me. You know, this stuff is way bigger than me. This is way bigger than me and my co-host. Uh, I don't know. It just sometimes people have a dope story, and sometimes they shoot. They just need to get it out there. So I don't mind learning and listening to people and learn more about them. And shoot, sometimes the best way to do that is shoot, man, have a podcast.
Hey, that's real. I see you got that Spokane Who Fest on, man. Many years playing in those. I got me a couple Spokane Who Fest championships underneath the belt. You know the boys, but
Oh,
out there.
oh yeah, oh well, okay, now you taking it out. Now I ain't getting none of the championship now. I ain't gonna. Yeah, it was a lot of hot days over there. But shoot, I'm gonna have to say that for another episode. Shoot. So,
We're gonna be
so
on here,
yeah,
man. We're gonna
well,
be on here, bro. Yeah.
man, thank you again for coming on. You know, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a review. All our old episodes are still up on all major platforms. You can always go back and listen to them. And one thing I would say, Mike, is that's what I used to always tell people is, by you doing this, like your voice gonna forever be around. You know, because this is probably gonna be around long after we gone. So your kids be able to see this stuff. They want to see like, man, what was Dad talking about? Just like we had certain guests who transition. Since they've been on since we used to do it back in the day. But even now, we can still go back and listen to like what people said they wanted to do in the future, and you can see if they did it or not.
Oh,
So
that's good.
I never, we never realized, how important it was sometimes to just do this stuff. But then it did hit us that, man, shoot, you're gonna always be around just because of this stuff right here.
Man,
So
that's cool. I didn't think
man,
about that.
yeah,
That's
so
dope.
hey, don't forget to go back and you can listen to all our old episodes. If you want to catch up on anything, you can even go back and see what we used to talk about back then. Because right now, like I said, it's way easier to do podcasting than when we did it back in the day. And like we always say, Cal and Jay every day. Come, and we out. Thank you again, Mike.